Hello again, everybody. This is the acrylic part. This is going to be the week 2, but it's going to be the actual acrylic day, okay? So, like I discussed in the previous video, we need very basic things. Most of these things that we could actually get from home. Cup with water, paper towel, round brush, the drawing that we already completed before, and just the basic palette. Like I said, most colors will have this basic palette. Over here, I have ivory black, I have burnt sienna, I have cobalt blue, cadmium red, cadmium yellow, and titanium white. If you guys don't get a black on a basic set, you guys could mix your complementary colors. In this case, your burnt sienna, which is kind of like an orange, which is complementary color to blue, okay? But, you know, I have the black, so I'm gonna use the black. I'm actually gonna start this painting with the black. So the first layer that we're gonna do is we're just gonna add a base color to our picture, all right? This base color that we're gonna use in our picture is just gonna be black because a lot of the picture is actually neutral. You could use brown, you could use black. We're just gonna choose to use black. The most important thing here is that we work with very, very, very thin paint. Also, don't try to rush. If there's periods that I recommend that you take a pause and you guys actually just keep on working, just pause the video whenever you guys want. You could just go back and check the video again and just kind of restart it, but there's no need to rush, okay? Make sure you take your time. I'm gonna work a little faster because I've been doing this for a while, but there's no need to be so fast, all right? So the first thing I'm gonna do with my brush, I'm gonna dip it into my water. I'm gonna make sure that I only drag very little water and very little black. Actually, a lot of water, very little black, all right? We want to use a very thin layer of acrylic. It almost looks like watercolor here. I'm just gonna start in the inside of my frame. And I don't want this to be dark. If I do this really dark, I'm gonna lose my drawing. And I don't wanna lose my drawing because I spent the whole of last session just kind of completing that. So I wanna make sure that my picture is still visible by having very, very thin acrylic. One layer is not just more than enough. One layer is just what we need. If you guys do anything more than one layer, you're gonna lose your drawing, okay? If you guys decide that, oh, you know what, I'm done with this layer, I'm just gonna do another one. Please, I would recommend that you don't, okay? I would recommend that we pause at this time. So I'm almost done. Again, you guys wanna do a neat job. You guys, I work fast. If you guys need to pause, go ahead and pause, okay? You guys don't have to work as fast as I'm working here. All right, pretty good. So my picture's already there. You could see it again. I'm gonna let some areas dry. This area is picking up a little bit. So I'm just gonna let my picture dry just for a second, all right? When I'm done with this part, I'm gonna start doing the same thing. I don't want a thick black. I just want a second layer of black. So just by doing a second layer of black, you will be able to make it darker. You actually don't need to make it black, black, black. You just need to do another layer of that same watery color, okay? So I'm gonna just use it for my shadows, all right? I'm gonna be very careful. I wanna make sure that I stop between objects. I'm not gonna go just one big shape. I'm actually gonna go 1, stop, 2, stop, 3, stop, 4. 1 stop, 2 stop, 3 stops, okay? If I paint really big, I'm gonna lose my drawing. I'm pretty sure about that. So I'm gonna just start over here. If I hold my round brush very vertical, I should be able to do very precise lines, okay? If I hold it vertically. If I hold it flat or horizontally, your lines are gonna get chubbier, all right? Just be careful of that. Be mindful of that. All right. Guys, just have fun here. Again, remember we did really organic shapes. So even though we do want to keep the shape of the outside of the pear, we don't have to be too careful with the inside of the pear. Remember, you guys even made your own continent for that. All right, there's the shadow of my pear. Using the same watery black, not any difference. I'm gonna go into my apple. Just make sure the edge is really nice. later on. The inside could be organic, just like an apple is organic. Oops. All right. Just push it all the way to the front. Over here, and right about here. And now I'm going to go into my cast shadow. Here you might actually get a little merging between the apple and the pear. That's all right, as long as you guys know where this actually goes. All right, big stuff is good. Do my little stem right here. Do my other little stem over here. Oops, I think I forgot this part of the pear here. All right, here we go. So now we have the big drama. We have where the big lights and the big darks go. Now we're gonna do on the outside, we're gonna work on our cast shadows. Don't forget, those cast shadows are those really fun shadows that are cast by the fruits on something else. All right, here we go. Block it in. Block it in. And block it in. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right. That's all I'm looking for at this point. I'm not trying to do, you know, a lot more work. If I do more work, I'd run the risk that things are going to be bleeding with each other. Things are going to be kind of blending when they're not supposed to. So at this point, you guys could also take a little break and just do this, or pause my video and just focus on doing these shadows. All right. So from this point onwards, I'm also going to start worrying about the big color on the shapes, right? So the big color of my pear is gonna be like a yellow green. The black in here is actually gonna make my yellow look like it's green, because it's not mixing through actually mixing the colors together, but it is mixing through layers, okay? So I'm gonna grab water only, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just cover my entire pear with a very, very soft yellow. You can still see your drawing. You see your drawing is still there. Your drawing is still there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and coat this whole thing on here and go even into the shadows. That way you could see the difference between a yellow shadow and a red shadow. Once we're done with this, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna repeat the same step with my cadmium red, which is pretty bright. And I'm just gonna go, starting in my light areas, I'm just gonna go and gradually just push it into the darker values right here. And right here, you guys, this is where I'm gonna pause the video on my part. You guys are gonna see no pausing on the video, but I do need to wait for this to dry. If I try to work right away, it's not gonna work. So this is where patience is a virtue, all right? So we'll wait a few seconds for this to dry, or a few minutes, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll move on to the next step in a second. All right, you guys, this is a few moments later, okay? I was doing some other things, making some coffee and all that stuff. You guys could drink some milk, some orange juice. I was just kind of spending my time walking around for like 5 minutes, okay? So you guys didn't see those 5 minutes pass, but now we're actually gonna start focusing on our individual fruits, all right? We are gonna start with the pear. And we're gonna start with the muddiest color. The pear, you know, we like a nice yellow pear, but rarely are they nice and yellow. And the fun part here is also mixing some dirty, fun colors, okay? So the first thing we're gonna start is by mixing our muddy green, all right? So how do we mix a muddy green? There's a lot of options to mixing a muddy green. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna mix my cobalt blue and a little bit of lemon, which that is obviously way too nice. That's like the opposite of an ugly or a muddy green. That's like a cute, good looking green. We don't want cute, we don't want good looking, we want nice and ugly. So I'm gonna bring in the smallest amount of burnt sienna, okay? Just gradually make it ugly. If it starts looking ugly, like, I wish my fruits never look like this, that's probably a good sign of a good color, all right? I'm gonna move my cup here. There's casting a shadow, so I want you to actually see the color. So this is my ugly, muddy color that I'm actually using here. Looks like a brown, yeah, but it has a little bit of a green to it. So with this color, I'm gonna replace my black. My black is such a flat color. It's boring, you know. Things are not black, shadows are not black. Shadows are always the color of the object most of the time, plus the color opposite on the color wheel. Okay, so I don't want to use that same ugly black. That was just for the beginning, all right? Now I'm mixing my ugly green. I did add a little white because my black was a little too dark. So I did add a little white, and now I'm just gonna replace my shadows. There we go. So now my shadow is dark, but it's not black. It's more of a green. Ew, it's kind of ugly too. And ugly is good. Remember, if you guys see something and you guys don't actually like it, if you guys see something and it's like, that looks kind of ugly, then that's probably good, okay? Things are not made with all these nice colors from the tube. They're made with mud, all right? All right, so here we go. First ugly color. Looks pretty ugly to me, so I like it, all right? Remember, ugly's good at this time around. Now, to mix my next color, I don't have to mix a new color here, mix a new color there. No, I just have to add a little bit of yellow to that same mud. See, I'm just mixing it over my color and a little bit of white. Now, I am gonna make my dark midtone, okay? Let's see, nice, still pretty ugly. I like ugly colors. Remember, ugly colors are real colors. Nice colors, they're not so real. All right, so I'm gonna add some ugly there. Make sure it touches the ugly we just did. I'm not doing a perfect line because I want my pear to look like it has little holes, it has little textures on there, and it's not just a perfectly made pear. So I wanna make sure that I do that color. I'm going fast, you guys, but you guys could actually spend more time on this. I'm not spending a lot of time, so I'm gonna try to keep it pretty fast on my end. But remember, you guys can pause here and there. Okay, there's no need for you guys to rush. You guys could actually pause here and there. All right. Oh, for my next color, which is my light midtone, I just added a little yellow and a little bit of white to that same color. Remember, I'm not changing my color. I'm using the same muddy color to mix over, and I'm doing a muddy midtone. Ooh, I like my color, but I think it's missing a little white. I want to make sure I see the difference. All right, there we go. Now I see the difference. Ooh, ugly but good. Remember, ugly is good. Not everything needs to be really nice looking colors. More real. And remember, there's no such things as mistakes right here, guys. This is the first project. If you don't like what you get from this one, you make another one. Or whenever we do our third or fourth project, you have a better idea of what to do and of what not to do, okay? So any mistakes that we make here, we are okay. It's the beginning. This is not the final project. It's a pear and an apple. It should look nice, but if you guys are waiting for a masterpiece, that's gonna come later. All right, see how that pear is looking a little more three-dimensional, a little more volume? Now I'm gonna clean my brush. For this color, I am gonna go a little clean. I'm just gonna grab my yellow. I'm gonna throw quite a bit of white. It doesn't have to be excessive amount of white. It's just yellow and white. With whatever mud is on there, it's just yellow and mud, okay? And a little bit of white. And right now I'm gonna go into my core here Oops, sorry, we gotta dry that. Remember, we don't want watery colors anymore. I'm just gonna go into my yellow here, kind of remake my funny looking continent. We'll call my continent, I don't know. And once I have my continent, I'm gonna go in the center of this just with white, okay? Here, just a little twinkle of white, okay? Once I go in the center, I'm just gonna start working my color out. All right, work your color out and work your color out. Now we have a pretty fun looking pear that has some volume. If you guys don't like the transition, you guys could just move a little bit of this yellow and move it onto the transitions. I do like this harsh edge though. I prefer a harsh edge instead of a soft edge. We could later make this softer, but right now let's try to make this a little harder. And again, you guys could play around with your transitions. Just don't overblend. My pet peeve is overblending. It's like, do anything, but please don't overblend, okay? I'm just dabbing on my brush because I want textures on there, all right? There we go. We have a cool looking, muddy, old little pear, okay? And the apple is actually a lot easier. I just added a little twinkle there. Everything else is about the same. All right, now let's move on to our apple. Okay, so we're gonna clean our brush. Make sure you guys beat that thing in the water here. Just go. You cannot see it because I took it out because of the shadow. But if you guys see this, I'm actually just beating it in there, beating it in there, beating it in there. Now I'm cleaning and drying. All right, this should take you a lot longer than it took me. But remember, you could pause this video if you guys are not where I am. There's no need to rush, but we're gonna go to our next step, okay? So now I'm gonna mix my red with some black. All right, here we go. It looks almost like black, but there's actually enough red in here to actually make it look red, all right? If you need a little bit more red, just bring more red. Have fun with the color. Just don't make it too red because we're not gonna have a red to use later for the nice color of the apple. So right, these are your ugly colors. If you see them, you should almost get like a little sick, like, ew, it's so ugly. I haven't seen any ugly colors like those in the past. All right, now I should be able to separate my shadow because one of them is green and the other one is reddish black. All right, here we go. Clean my brush, clean, 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 clean. Now I'm gonna grab more red, still a little bit of black. I don't like my red to be too bright. It looks almost surreal, okay? So now we're gonna add, oops, let's dry our brush. Don't forget to dry your brush. Drying your brush is good. If not, your colors are gonna be super watery and you're gonna need way too many layers. There we go. Now I'm liking. Go. Do that nice red. Make sure the edges have a little bit of texture. They're not perfect edges. Okay. Make sure this edge has a little bit of texture. It's not a perfect edge. Right along here. There we go. And finally, I forgot this little corner here, so I'm gonna fill it in with my black. Okay, now I have a really bright apple. You guys see that? It's not a, you know, like a pink apple anymore. Now it looks like a really dark apple. So what I'm mixing over here on the side, I'm mixing a little pink, just red and white. And I'm gonna do just a little pink here and a little pink here. Right in the center of this. I'm just gonna grab pure white. Look, there's nothing on my brush but a little bit of pure white. And there goes a twinkle, okay? I did this part extremely fast, really fast. But for you guys, this is gonna take about an hour or an hour plus. And I actually did it fast, but I'm like in 25 minutes. This might take like an hour. So this is gonna be everything for our week number 2, and we'll get ready for week number 3. This part might get hard. You guys could send me your photos of the works that you're doing. If they look a little funny or if they look a little off, just let me know. I'll be happy to tell you what we did wrong, what we have to change, if anything. But also don't forget, this is your first project, okay? As your first project, don't be too hard on yourselves.